Picture this. You've poured years of your life into a company. You're loyal. You've worked hard. You're part of the team. Then, one day, your phone buzzes. It's a text from your boss, and just like that, it's over. Your job, your career, gone. It sounds so cold, so impersonal. You'd think it couldn't be legal, right? Well, it happens. So the question is, how can a single text message snowball into a massive legal showdown? Let's get into it.
And I'm not making this up. This is a real text message sent from a boss to an employee. It's abrupt, it's harsh, and as we're about to see, it is a textbook example of how not to fire someone. And believe me, it came with a very hefty price tag for the person who sent it.
All right, so our first story is all about a guy whose simple request for a pay review, something he totally deserved after a decade of service, didn't just get shot down, it got him fired.
So let's lay out the timeline for Ilyas Kaji. He starts his job way back in 2015. For 10 years, he's a loyal employee at Sigma Resourcing. Then, in early 2025, he does something anyone would do. He asks for a pay review. I mean, it's been a while. The response he got, though, it was anything but reasonable.
Yep, that was the director's actual response. Not, hey, let's talk about it, or let me see what we can do. Nope, he goes straight to this incredibly hostile and unprofessional comment. Right away, it just poisons the well for what should have been a normal conversation. Now here's where it gets really interesting. After that initial outburst, the director actually offers a small raise, about $5,000. But when payday rolls around, the extra money is nowhere to be found. So when Mr. Kaji follows up on this broken promise, things escalate fast. Suddenly, he's locked out of his own work email.
And this is how it all ended. With a blunt text message. No meeting, no warning, nothing. 10 years of work just gone, deleted in a few words on a screen. Mr. Kaji, to his credit, refused to resign. He said he'd done nothing wrong, and this was the director's final word on the matter. So when this whole thing landed in front of the Fair Work Commission, the company tried a different tactic. They claimed that Mr. Kaji had actually abandoned his job. But you know what? The commission saw right through that. They were crystal clear. He was terminated, and that termination was completely unfair.
So what was the final bill for sending that angry text? Almost $50,000. That's what the commission ordered the company to pay Mr. Kaji. It's a pretty powerful reminder that a few careless words can end up having some very, very expensive consequences.
Okay, let's move on to our second case. And this one might be even more shocking because it involves a boss who was also supposed to be a good friend. This is a story where a legitimate sick day didn't just cost someone their job, it destroyed a friendship.
This is the text the employee Jorge Borlandelli sent. It's polite, it's to the point, it's a totally normal message you send your boss when you're sick. He was a panel beater, making good money, working for his friend Jackson Pierce. Seems pretty standard, right?
And that was the reply he got from his friend just minutes later. It's aggressive, it's accusatory, there's zero empathy there. Just a shocking response to someone telling you they're in legitimate pain. And the thing is, Mr. Borlandelli did everything right. He wasn't just saying he was sick. He went and got 2 separate medical certificates to prove it. He followed all the rules, but in the end, it didn't make a lick of difference. And then, a couple of days later, while he was still on approved sick leave, this landed in his inbox. The final callous blow. Again, no discussion, no process, just a cold, digital, you're fired.
So fast forward to the hearing at the Fair Work Commission. Suddenly, the employer has a totally new story. He starts arguing that the firing wasn't about the sick day at all. No, it was about poor performance and all these supposed unauthorized days off. But the commission wasn't buying it for a second. They pointed out that, hey, if it was about performance, why didn't you mention that in the text? They called his list of absences vague hearsay evidence. Basically, they saw it for what it was, an excuse cooked up after the fact to try and cover an illegal firing.
So we've just walked through 2 pretty shocking stories. But what's the actual legal rule that makes these firings unfair? It's really important to get this, because these laws are there for a reason, to balance the power between a boss and an employee. Let's break down what these employers just completely ignored. At its core, this is what unfair dismissal is all about. An employer needs a valid reason to fire you, something to do with your performance or your ability to do the job. And the way they do it can't be unjust, harsh, or unreasonable. You know, like firing someone with an angry text message. That's a pretty clear example of an unreasonable manner.
Now, there's a phrase that came up in both of these cases, procedural fairness. It sounds a bit technical, but it's a fundamental right for every single employee. It's not just about why you're fired, it's about how it's done. So what does that actually mean in the real world?
It honestly boils down to two really simple but absolutely critical steps. First, your boss can't just fire you out of the blue. They have to tell you why you might be let go. And second, and this is the big one, you have to be given a chance to respond. You get to tell your side of the story. It's all about making sure the process is fair, not just the result.
And when you look back at our two stories, you can see this pattern of failure clear as day. In both cases, there was no valid reason for the firing. Asking for a raise or being legitimately sick? Not valid reasons. There was no warning, no chance to explain, and the method itself, a simple text, was seen as harsh and just plain unreasonable.
Okay, so we've seen how badly things can go wrong. What are the big lessons here? Really, it all comes down to knowing your rights so you can stand up for yourself.
It's a tough question, I know, but you have to ask it. The truth is, unfair dismissals happen all the time, and knowing what your rights are is really your first and best line of defense.
So, let's nail down the key takeaways. Remember these 4 things. First, you can only be fired for a valid reason. Second, you always have a right to be heard. Third, the way you're dismissed actually matters. And finally, if you think you've been treated unfairly, you gotta act fast. There are really strict deadlines for making a claim.
And that really leaves us with one last thought. These stories, yeah, they're worst-case scenarios, but they're also a powerful reminder to just take a look at the environment you work in every day. Because knowing your rights is one thing, but working in a place that actually respects them, well, that's the whole ballgame.